Okay, welcome back. In this episode, we're going to do the core routing in our topology. I have my VPN connected here, and I'm going to go ahead and start GNS3. And this is the MM-Tek topology. And so I'm going to go ahead and open this topology. I'm also going to come in and open our mesh topology here so that I can actually see the IP addresses here. We're going to move this up really large. And I'll move back and forth between these so that we can get these the core routing done here. Okay, so these are all powered on. If you notice, I only have the devices powered on here that I'm actually going to be interacting with and using today. I'll right click here and we'll do console for the Switzerland router. And we'll do enable and configure terminal. And the first thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and actually let's do show run here to see our different our starting configuration. There really isn't anything here. We've got gigabit Ethernet 0 through 6. And one of the things that you can do here on your GNS3 console here, do we have Switzerland? So what I've done is expanded here under Switzerland, and our G0 goes to the ASA, and then 01 goes to India, which is this direction. So that's going to be this connection. Now, what I really need to do is to go in here and list this interface here as being G0 /1. That makes it so much easier, but I'm going to be lazy and not do that. And our IP address is going to be 10.1.0.1, and we're using a class C mask or a /24. So this is a gigabit Ethernet, not a serial. So we don't have to put a clock rate on it. We can go ahead and do, a no shutdown. And then that one will, status will change to up. So that's the first one that we have to configure here. And then 02 E02, the IP address should actually be 10.2.0.1 because that's the one that actually goes to Japan. And so let's go back and do G0/3 now. And the IP address here is going to be 10.8.0.1. And then let's do int G0/4. And the IP address here is going to be 10.11.0.1. Okay, sorry, IP address 10.11.0.1. We'll do 0.0/5, and that goes to America. So the IP address is 10.9.0.1. And then G0/6. The IP address here is going to be 10.0.1. Okay, so now our interfaces are all configured. And the next thing we'll want to do is go ahead and put routing on here. So we'll start a process of router OSPF 100, 10.0, 10.1.0.0, 0.0.0.255, area 0. And we'll do, so 1, 8, is a little hard to work on a remote thing that's not going quite as fast as you are. 10. Again. $11. And 2. So if we look over here at our topology, we've got 10.1, 10.8, 10.9, 10.10, 10.11, and 10.2. We will do 10.17. That's just not part of what I'm actually configuring today. Okay, so let's do copy, run, start. Now, in terms of using GNS3 or any of the simulation products, particularly in situations like this where it's a remote server, it could get turned off and so forth, your best bet here is to actually go in and do a show run. I'll hit the space bar here on these where it says more. Now, I'm going to go back up to the start of this configuration. Right where we said show run. And I'll actually come down to the where it says hostname router. We actually did not change the host name, so actually before I save this, let's do that really quickly. And we'll call this one Switzerland Edge. And I'm going to save this configuration. And I'm going to show run again. Hitting the space bar to get all the way down to the end of the configuration. Then I'll arrow back up. We'll go to host name. And I'm going to come down and copy all of this stuff down here to end. Here, so okay, so this is I highlighted the configuration here. I went in to a notepad file, so I did Control-C over here. I came over here and then pasted this. Now I don't really need all of this stuff on here. So what I'm going to do is go in and I'm going to clean this up. I'm actually going to take this stuff out. I'll leave the no domain lookup for right now. I don't need this banner. And so what you'll see here is pretty much the same stuff that I entered in here. Now we can actually save this one, and we'll go in here. I'm going to put it in a different configuration here because those are from a different set, and we'll do MM-Tek. We're going to call this one Switzerland Edge. And then, so now I have this configuration. If something does happen to GNS3, I can highlight this and paste it back in to the router over here. And in fact, a lot of times if I'm not real sure about the configuration, it's just easier to sometimes just do a erase start over here. Okay, so I'll do a right erase. I'll do a reload. And it goes back to the initial configuration dialog, as if there was nothing on this router at all. So I'm going to do no on this. Again, we're just demonstrating, if you need to completely clear a router and restart. We'll do enable and config T, and then let's do a control A over here, and then a control C. Back over here, and then we'll do a control V. Some more of these configured. So this is all configuring one device. So now we're going to do a copy, run, start. Okay, so this is Switzerland, and then we can console here into Japan. And we are going to do console. And because this one was sitting here and running, just you got to be sure that you're inside of the device. So if you click here and you see the solid green, you're in. Okay, so we'll go to configuration, global configuration, and we will do 2 connections. Really is all we're going to do here, except I don't know which interfaces those are connected to. So I'll come back over here, I'll move that back down, and then we're going to slide this back up to Japan. And so 0/2 and 0/3 are the ones that we're going to configure. 0/2 is the interface up here, and 0/3 is this one here. And so we'll go int G0/2. The IP address here is 10.2.0.2. And then G0/3. And it's 10.3.0.1. So that's this interface right here that's just come up. Okay, so one of the things that happened here is I shut this router down and I copied the configuration in. So this is one of the things that I was going to double check here. And so let's do config T, and we're going to go to int and see if we can figure out which interface that was going this direction from Switzerland to Japan, and that is G0/2. So I'm going to go back over here. G here, and we're going to type no shut. And now I want to come back down here, and now we get an 80% success rate. And anytime you get an 80% success rate, if you do it again, you get 100% because that first time it's not in the ARP cache, and so it's sends out an ARP request, and then from that point forward it knows how to get to that particular address. So what that tells us is that for all of these interfaces here that's on Switzerland, I'm going to have to go in and no shut all of those interfaces. Now I want to talk about just a few general things here. In terms of the routing stuff, so you now have enough information sort of to go ahead and do these this core set of routers. As soon as you get all of the interfaces configured and you test them from one to another, and we did put the routing protocol in on Switzerland. Obviously we need to put the routing protocol in on each of these other devices. But after you do, you should be able to ping from any one of them to any other device on the network. And that's sort of the first thing we want to do here is get our core configured correctly. So I'm going to stop here, and then we'll come back and we'll start doing sort of the internal part of the network. I'll configure these others offline, and then we'll pick one of these, and we'll configure the items that are in here. The router that's serving as a router on a stick, and then we'll configure VLANs here, and we'll put these into VLAN 10 and these items into VLAN 20, and so forth.